Hey guys, welcome to Sabrina's Craft-nanigans. It's Sabrina. Sorry about my voice here in Texas. We went from 90 degrees to now it's about 50, 60. And yeah, the drastic weather change kind of gets to me pretty good. Anyway, welcome to the Thrift Flip Road Trip. I hope you come and enjoy the playlist, which is linked in my description box to see all these beautiful ladies flip some thrifts. My video is a little bit longer than usual, but I really wanted to show you how I transformed 2 pieces of junk into 3 spectacular. I'm absolutely in love with them. So go click that description box to get the playlist link to all these beautiful ladies. Also, in my description box, make sure you go check out Sammy at Unicorn Dust Designs, Tammy at Happiness Created, and Miss Trish and Kay at Crafting Cousins. These 3 ladies are our hosts. Tammy is our guest host, and they are absolutely amazing crafters. You will not at all be disappointed with this Thrift Flip Road Trip in November. I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you give everybody a like, a comment, give us just a little emoji, and subscribe. Just click on our beautiful faces when you go up and over to the right and hit our face. Click subscribe, boom, done, free of charge, no problems. It really pushes us out on YouTube and we really appreciate it. Go get in that description box, guys. I will also have it as a pinned comment right as you get started. So enjoy your road trip and don't ask when we get there. I love you guys. Bye. Here we go on our road trip, guys, with Sammy, Tammy, Trish, and Kay. I hope you guys enjoy the ride because there's going to be some amazing things flipped around here. And if you stay tuned and comment through all the videos in the playlist to these lovely ladies, you have a chance at 9 winner giveaways. So I started with this chair that my best friend Randy, thank you Randy, gave me. She found in the dumpster. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to dismantle it, beat it apart. I got a good piece of wood out of the middle of that from the seat. And I also am going to take all those spindles. Here's project number 1. I'm going to start with the skinny spindles out of the back of the tray, or chair, not tray, you know. I guess it got more than my throat. I'm going to cut them in half. And as you see, I didn't just cut them in half. I cut them wonky. But you know what? That's okay. I like wonky. Wonky's good. I'm so sorry about my voice, guys. I'm taking the end and I'm cutting the ends off. I already cut the ends off of each one. Now I'm going to sand the ends on each one. And I'm going to wipe them all down, make sure they're nice and smooth. So there we go. And those little ends that you see that aren't white, I end up cutting those off too because I didn't like it. I'm going to take 3 different kinds of thread, and we're going to do the snip and rip here in just a little bit. But right now, before we do that, I am going to take my antique wax from Waverly, and I'm going to give them a good rubbing with just a dry paper towel. I'm not using a wet wipey because I wanted quite a bit of that to stay on. So I'm just giving them all a good rub. I'm not going to put you through all that misery, but I do that to all of those guys. And then I'm taking them, rolling them around. There was a couple spots like where I held on to it, didn't get enough. Okay, so we're going to let those guys dry over there. Now we're going to do the snip and rip with these 3 different kinds of fabric that I got at the Dollar Tree, but it's been in my stash for a while. I'm going to show you that we're just barely going to take it and we're going to just snip a little end of it. Watch. See? Snip. There we go. See? Just a little bit. And I'm going to do that 3 times. And I'm only going to need 2 of these pieces. I'm going to actually rip 2 of each piece. And see, after we snip, we can just take, pull, and we rip. So I got 3 pieces out of that, but I only wanted 2. And then I did the same with the checkered and the same with just the red. Look at this can I got at the Goodwill. I think it was $3. No, it was $1. Woo, $1. That's even better. We're going to take those stickers off of that. And then I'm also going to clean the inside out because you saw that there was a lot of that green floral foam mess in there. That stuff stinks too, guys. Ugh. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to make some candy canes with our little spindles and our cloth here. What I'm going to do first is I'm just going to glue a little bit on the end and stick my material on the end there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and kind of fold it down, wrap it around. I am sure there's a much better way to do this, a much easier way to do this, a much better way to make this look better. But, you know, I have just done the 12 days of Christmas since November the 1st, posting a video every day. I did Just Your Imagination collaboration. That was on Monday, still in the middle, well, almost at the end of 12 days of Christmas craft challenge, and whoo, boy, that's probably another reason my voice is gone and out of here. God, let me tell you, oh, I'm getting my crafty Christmas on. Anyway, So you saw how I glued the end of that down, and that kind of covered it up too. Now I'm just taking it and I'm whirling, spinning my material around. I'm not gluing it. I glued it at the top, and then I'm going to glue it down here at the bottom. This gives me the freedom to move it around if it slides, or if I want to completely take it off and do something else with the spindles. When it's winter or summer or fall, I can change them from candy canes to something else if I want to. So I'm just gluing the ends on, and I'll cut that extra off just right along the edge, and then I'll glue that little tip down that was sticking. And I'm going to do that. I have 6 strips. I have 6 of the spindles that I cut. And so we're going to make 6 candy canes, 2 of each different fabric. And there you go. We got 2 striped, 2 checkered, and 2 with the red. There's our candy cane sticks. Aren't those so cute? You're probably thinking, well, why didn't you make more? Well, here's why. I forgot to hit record. I'm so sorry. I just had some pine needle floral and some other plastic frosted floral. This was all in my stash that I got from my friend Shelly. Thank you, Shelly. And then also these little pit berries that I have no idea where they came from, but they were only 59 cents. Once again, thank you, Shelly. Shelly and Randy, my 2 peeps. They look after me so much. My good heifers. I love my heifers. I'm not gluing anything in here, guys. This is all just literally sitting in the can. I have not glued anything. I didn't put floral foam in. I actually had a vine of like poinsettias that was kind of raggedy. I stuffed that in the bottom so it would lift everything up a little bit. I didn't show you that because you can use foam if you want. You could use a rag. I've done that before. Stuck a piece of towel in it and just something to lift it up. But there is no foam or anything, and I glued nothing in there. So, and then I stuck those berries in there. Now, I had some of my red ribbon left, that one piece I had left, but it wasn't long enough to go around the can. I wanted to tie a ribbon around the can. So the only material I had long enough was this white that I had in my stash for several years. So I only ripped me 2 strips of white. Say hello to Bees. He had to go out the way. And after I snip and rip my 2 strips of white, I'm going to take my antique wax, this cute little sponge dauber thing that I'm sure you're probably supposed to use it for ink or something, but you know, I don't follow the rules. And I'm just going to kind of just dab that on both sides of the ribbon, and I will do that to both ribbons. And then I'll kind of run my hand through it while it's still wet. I'll get messy hands, but I also get a nice brown ribbon. Now, you also can do this with some instant coffee grounds, like I showed you there. I bought some, but it didn't show up till after I was already done. So, you know, that's how it goes. The delivery man was running late. Okay, so now I still want my same red that I put on my candy canes on my can. So I'm going to snip and rip. I'm going to do 2 more of each one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my white, and I'm sorry you can't see this very well. I tried to change my camera angle, and I didn't like it. So later on in the video, I go back to my other way I was doing because, yeah, I thought you'd see better coming down, but you can't. I like it better at an angle. Anyway, I take the 2 ribbons that I ripped and antiqued, and I tied them around. I just tied one time. Now I'm putting my other red ribbons in there. I didn't tie those or anything. I just stuck them in there. And now I'm tying a knot around those. So you can see, and now I'll make a bow with the white, and this turns out really cute, guys. So the white is around the can, and then I just tied my red inside the white material cloth. And then I snip and rip the ends on my white since it was wider. And I wanted it to all have that shaggy, raggedy look. Yeah, there's a lot of strings everywhere. They pull off because you're fraying the material, but I absolutely loved it. Now, obviously, the red strings materials is ribbons, whatever you want to call them. Feel free. Call them what you want. Are obviously too long. So I'm going to take my pinking shears over here that you could use to cut zigzags so that it doesn't ravel as much. And I'm going to cut the ends off. And I must have hacked and whacked at this for probably a good 5 minutes, but I'm not going to bore you with all that. It's not even, it's not perfect, but I like it. And that's what matters. You do you, boo. Okay, so of course, if you've watched my channel before, you know I like me some gnomies. So I had my little gnome picks here that came from the Dollar Tree, and I stuck her in, and then you'll see later at the end of the video in the final review that it's a review of what I've done. Yeah, you're viewing it again. But there was another one I had that had a little gray hat, so it's kind of like a little girl and a boy. Anyway, I had some pine cones in my stash, and I just took 3. I like to do things in 3s. I saw other people doing that, so I do that, and I really like the odd number. Anyway, that's why there's 3 odd of the frosted little sprigs there too. Okay, back to what I'm supposed to be doing. So you saw I had those little like wooden stickers from the Dollar Tree that I've had. And I'm taking my antique wax dry paper towel again, not a wet one. Taking a dry one, and I'm just wiping the front of that candy cane. Okay, and we're going to take it, and I'm going to pull the sticky sticker off the back because I'm just going to use my hot glue to get this on. I'm just going to use my glue pen, which works amazing, and I'm going to take it, and I'm going to glue it right in the middle of my white right there. Press and hold it, and I'll sit and fluff, and I must have fluffed and rearranged this thing for hours, but I didn't put you guys through that misery. But isn't that cute? And see, there he is. You see the little gray one up there? Oh, isn't he so cute? I made those jute trees, too, by the way. Check them out.
Welcome to the Thrift Flip Road Trip. Today we're kicking off an exciting open challenge hosted by Unicorn Dust Designs, Crafting Cousins, and our special guest co-host Tammy from Happiness Created. Watch as talented creators breathe new life into forgotten treasures, transforming them into something extraordinary. November is Subscriber Appreciation Month, and as a thank you for your amazing support, we're giving away fabulous prizes to 9 lucky winners. Here's what you could win. A box of craft supplies from Crafting with Indy Annie Jones. A deluxe easy bow maker from Buckeye Girls Lifestyle. A Creative Memories card kit from Creative Pages with Catherine. Cordless electric scissors from Crafting Up a Storm with Shar. A hobby knife set and self-healing cutting mat from Happiness Created. A brayer set from I'm Merely Melissa, a $50 Amazon gift card from DIY with Aria, a $50 Amazon gift card from Crafting Cousins, and a $100 Visa gift card from CJ DIY. To enter, watch the November Thrift Flip Road Trip playlist and comment on your favorite project from each creator. Remember, you must leave a comment on every video in the playlist to be eligible to win. Mark your calendar for Saturday, November 23rd, when we'll announce the winners on our community tabs. Due to shipping costs, this giveaway is open to U.S. residents only. Don't miss out on your chance to win. Follow the playlist in the description box below and spread the love.
Okay, guys, here's the second thing I had. So I had that chair, and now we're going to take this wreath. I got it for $5 at the Goodwill, okay? It's this wreath. It has lights. It had that raggedy mesh ribbon on it, which I pulled out as I was videoing. But I mainly got it for the deer on the front, okay? But I ended up doing a lot more than with the deer. So we're going to get the tags off the deer. It also had a hook. I'm going to unscrew that because I'm not going to be hanging it. But I do keep the hook and the screws. Absolutely. That it was only $5 for that whole thing. Oh my gosh. I would have paid $5 for the deer. Much less the deer and the wreath and the fact I fixed the lights and it still lights up. Anyway, back to the deer. Now we're going to take one of the legs off the chair, one of the spindles, and I'm going to cut just a chunk of it off so it's got a wide bottom and a skinny top. So we're going to keep the top part over on the left, and I'm cutting off that right part. So see, there we go. And then I also obviously sanded both ends. So the skinnier end is going to go on the deer, and the bottom end is going to go to this chunk of the seat that busted out. It was already cracked through the middle, but as I was jumping on it, trying to break it all apart, it broke again with my fat patootie. And so I'm going to use that to my advantage. That's going to be a good piece of wood right there. Sorry about all the slow pokey motion thing going on here. Anyway, I'm going to take that paint right there that I cannot remember where I got. Oh, I got it at Pop Shelf. I think that's where I got it, which is part of Dollar General. And I'm going to paint the spindle, and it's lace color. I'm going to paint the spindle really, really well. While that dries, I'm going to paint the piece of seat that I busted out. And I'm not worrying about filling those holes in where the back spindles were or anything. And I'm not going to paint the bottom. I'm going to paint the sides, the ends, and the top. And I'm not even going to worry about a perfect paint with this either. It's going to get 2 coats, just enough to cover up the brown. But what's going to happen later is once I get this together and it's all dry, I'm going to put the faux snow on top of it. Okay, so making sure everything's dry. My spindle was a little wet in the little dips and crooks there a little bit, so I dried him off real good. Going to take my antique wax and a distressing brush from the Dollar Tree. And first, I'm going to just go where those bumps and ridges are, and I'm going to show you how it makes it pop. Look at that. Oh, I love that. I love that. If you don't like that and that's not your thing and you want it stark white and you want it shining and beaming, you go. Do you, boo? I'm going to now, after I got those ends real good, I gave the whole thing a coat with the antique wax. I didn't rub or peel anything off. Yeah, I want to peel the paint off. Anyway, I ended up sanding those ends again to make sure there was no antique wax on those ends. And see, this board is not perfect. I don't care. It's good. It's perfect. No antique wax. Okay, here's some crafting paper that I got out of this packet that I got from Pop's Shelf. But I'm sure you might be able to find it at Walmart or Dollar Tree or something. I mean, not Dollar Tree, but Dollar General. And then this little packet I had in my stash from Shelly. Thank you, Shelly. And I chose the buffalo plaid out of that big packet because that is my color for my house at Christmas time. I'm going to do his body with the red and black buffalo plaid. And his little hooves and his antlers, I'm going to do with that black that was on those 2 smaller pieces of craft paper, cardstock, whatever, scrapbook paper, whatever floats your goats. This is probably not the best way to do this, and I found that out later. But you know what? I'm still learning here. Yep, still learning. It still come out pretty. I'm happy with it, but I know there's a better way to do that. I had to piece it, obviously, so I'm taking 2 pieces here. I made sure that my lines lined up. I'm also using my mat to making sure everything lines up as well. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to trace around the deer. Remember, don't worry about his foot sticking out or his antlers sticking out because we're going to use the other scrapbook paper for that. So I'm going to trace all the way around this. And once I get finished tracing, I'm going to do a rough cut around this. See, I pulled it off and now I'm going to tape it back together. See there, see there. And then I ended up putting a whole bunch of tape in the middle right there because that tape was the tape that held it on the deer. And so now it's sticky, but I needed the paper to hold together. And I put so much tape on this, it ended up bubbling on me when I Mod Podge it later. But, you know, I'm learning. We covered it up. Now, you notice as I'm cutting this out, I'm not cutting right on the line. I'm giving myself some space, and thank goodness I did. But we can always we'll take our sander and we'll sand it off later and give us a nice smooth edge. Now, I wanted one more piece up there at the top by his head. So I'm putting the tape underneath it this time with the tape that's taped to the deer. Yeah, tape. Why I did this, I don't know. I was just trying to keep it together so it stayed lined up because I'm a perfectionist. And then welcome moose. And then that didn't work either. And so anyway, it was a hot mess, guys. I'm so sorry. All right, so now I'm going to take that piece that's there. Sorry for my big head. It gets in the way quite often here because I changed my camera angle. And I'm going to trace the insides of that. And then I'm going to very carefully pull that off. Despite the fact I used all this tape, I never ripped my paper. That I was proud about. Once again, I'm not going to cut on the edge. I'm staying on the outside. See, just like that. There's that little hoop that was in the middle. And I'm going to cut, boop-a-doop-a-doop. And there we go. So we got all of our red done. I'm going to set it back on just to make sure everything is lined up. Everything is looking good. That's a piece of tape up there on his head that I made sure that that's stuck down with. See there? See there? Making sure my line's lined up because I don't want it all wonky. This I did not want wonky. I usually like my wonky, but I don't want wonky right now. Okay, now that that's all good, we are going to take that off. And I'm going to make sure that that top piece is taped down to that, and there's our deer. Now, we're going to take this paper out of the little scrapbook, and I'm only using the black part with the snowflakes. I don't want the white part that says Merry Christmas with the trees. So I'm pressing down with my fingers, making sure that the antlers are behind that black and none of the trees get on it. So that one worked right there, and now I got to piece this one because it wasn't long enough, so I got that on. Gonna trace it again. I probably could have cut a lot of this out. You guys know how to do this. And well, maybe some of you don't. So maybe I'm helping you out. I hope so. I hope I help you guys. I hope I make you happy. I hope I make you laugh. Even if it's just one person. I mean, look at my shenanigans. I'm all over the place. I'm a hot mess. So let me put a piece of tape in the middle of this, and that really messed things up later. Oh my gosh. Anyway, we won't discuss that. Okay, so now, once again, we're going to cut his little antlers out, and I'm going to put more tape on the back because that was not the smart thing to do, and that's the kind of things I do, is not the smart things. Okay, now I'm going to put his antlers back on. I'm going to make sure that works and that fits. And then I believe I'm going to put the red back on to make sure that lines up and that fits. Don't worry about the top where his antlers meet his head. Don't worry about that. Now, I'm going to start to Mod Podge it on, which you did not see me do, or maybe I do later. I used that same black with the snowflake to make his hooves. Oh, you're going to see that in just a minute. Okay. So I'm putting the Mod Podge on. You can see I didn't do his hooves because I wasn't sure how I was going to do this yet, but hang in there. Anyway, I've just got some gloss Mod Podge, but it doesn't have to be gloss. It can be any kind of Mod Podge because you're not going to see this. And I'm just going toward the outsides because I don't want it to run too much down the edge, but I've always put way too much Mod Podge. Now I've decided, okay, wait, let me go ahead and do this. So I'm taking what was left over of the black, and I'm going to put that on his hooves to match his antlers. So I'm kind of feeling around, feeling where his foot is, making sure it has enough paper. And so we've got that one, and then I'm going to label it F for front. That's his front foot. And then we're going to do the back, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm feeling around to make sure I've got enough, and I'm just hacking some off, but I touched it, and I kind of bent it down. Now we're going to mark a B for back. That's his back foot. So we got a front foot and a back foot. Okay, so now I've decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and put the Mod Podge on and go ahead and get this black on too, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to get the red on, then the black, or the black, then the red, or do it all at once. Anyway, I went ahead and Mod Podged it all. It is now dry because I set that aside while I was actually working on the candy cane project. I kind of went back and forth here. So anyway, you can see his little hooves sticking out there. So we're going to line that up right there, just where I want it and where I like it. I did do some more trimming on that before I actually laid it down, but that's all a preference thing. Hey, if you want a big hoof, you want a little hoof. If you didn't want a hoof, you do you, boo. So I'm doing the heat press method where after the Mod Podge dries, you place your paper back on, get a piece of parchment paper, and then you take your little mini heat press. You can use a regular iron, just make sure there's no steam. And what this does is reactivates the Mod Podge. Yeah, there we go. And then so I did that really, really good, making sure I got around the edges. Everything is sticking. I wrapped my Mod Podge brush up in a wipey so that it would stay damp because I knew I would need it again, and I didn't want it to dry and get all crusty. What I'm doing is I'm getting to where I overlap the paper. I did cut some of it off, but I wanted to leave some, which also ended up biting me in the booty later and caused it to bubble up. But, you know, I'm learning. I realized what I'm doing. The other day I realized, why is it making white spots when I ironed it again? I don't think you can put your layer of Mod Podge on top and then hit it with the heat press again because it leaves white residue all over. I think might be my problem. Anyway, that's just another whole topic. Just enjoy. Okay, so I made the deer, okay, and I'm just heating it again where I just put that extra Mod Podge under where it overlapped. Okay. I like to play with fire, so we're going to do the fire method. But before I do that, I'm going to cut some of this extra paper out so that the fire can get in between his antlers there. And also, I kind of poke a hole in the middle, and I'll try to cut as much of that out as I can, which I should have used. If you just want to use your X-Acto knife or a blade and cut around that on your mat, do that. It's up to you, which, you know, I just wanted to play with fire today. So anyway, I got my water there just in case, and you just take your thing and you just light it and see it kind of burns and you see it follow it around. I just am fascinated by that. I think that's like the coolest thing in the world. Anyway, so got that all done, but still kind of rough. Like I said, you could use your blade. If you got an X-Acto knife or something, you could use that. So I've got a fingernail file. I got some sandpaper. I've got my big chunky block to sand. I used the fingernail file to kind of get in that middle part of his antlers and in between the points of the antlers. I got a little square file here. that I have no idea where it came from. I have gift sets with fingernail files and all sorts of stuff. And I'm just sanding the edges. And guys, make sure when you go to sand to get it smooth, always go down. Don't go back up, because if you sand up, it will pull your paper back up. So always make sure you sand in a downward motion. So there she is. Isn't she pretty? It didn't come out too bad. And then I go over it with Mod Podge again later and I ruin it. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now, while that just kind of sets to the side, I'm going to take my spindle here and I'm going to get it attached to my chair. So anyway, I drill a hole. I find a screw that's long enough, and then I find a drill bit that is about the same size as the screw, maybe a little bit smaller, so that it really grabs. I start a hole in the spindle and I start a hole in the board, and then I realize, wait, I don't want to cut through my whole table, so let me put this underneath it. And then I ended up cutting a hole through that and still went all the way through to my mat, but that's how I roll. Anyway, I did get it. It did go through, and it went through my board too, and a little bit through my mat at the bottom. But anyway, I'm going to get the screw started. Yeah, see, and there you go. There's my hole I put in there. Okay, so now we're going to get my screw started. Guys, this is the first time I've actually drilled in wood and put something together. This is my very first time. So then I realized, well, if I put it on the end, then it won't go through the little turntable thing, anyway. All right, so I'm going to put some wood glue on that, including in the hole. And then I got that screw up there just a little bit, just enough to catch. So I'm going to hold that on. Like I said, this is my first time, guys. Give me some grace. Woo! Sorry about my big old head. Yeah, you can't see a darn thing I'm doing. But what I'm doing is I'm screwing the screw through the board into the spindle. And there we go. I was pretty proud of myself. Sure, I scratched up my board, but you know what? Who cares? If anything, it'll hold because of the wood glue. So there we go. I was pretty happy. Okay, so now, while we set that to the side, while that kind of sets up with the wood glue, I'm going to use a matte Mod Podge because I did not want this to be bright and shiny, because I'm not a bright and shiny kind of person. I do like bright and shiny at Christmas, but not my dear. Anyway, so I Mod Podged it, and you can see where it bubbled up. That's because after I did that, I wanted to make sure it was sealed again, and yeah. Anyway, I did glue that. I just used hot glue for time's sake and got that to the board, and I pulled him more to the front, not board, the spindle. Got him more toward the front so that I could glue his hoof to the thing as well. Yes, there's a lot of front space on the board, but we take care of that. I'm just adding some floral, guys. Add any floral of your choice. I added some floral right there where the spindle met his belly to kind of cover that up. Welcome, Moose. You see Moose a lot. Anyway, and then I'm also adding it up there at the top where I pieced the paper together between his antlers and his head to kind of cover that up as well. This obviously is where I changed my camera angle so that you could see it from the side, and it was really tall too, so you weren't able to see it going straight down. And I was tired of it looking straight down because you couldn't see anything anyway. And this is all these picks and pine cones and berries. This was all stuff I had in my Christmas floral stash. Thank you, Shelly. And from things I already had. Some of these berries were pretty raggedy because they were just all in the box. And so I took my Posca red paint marker and I'm just kind of painting the spots that were white because this is for me. I don't care. I mean, you can't tell by the time I'm done. So I get that in there because later on you see how the pine cones look like they've got snow on them. The deer's going to look like he has snow, and so does the greenery and the berries. It snowed all over him. He was in a blizzard. Anyway, I have these foam little berry looking things that came on a pick, and I'm just putting 2 of those at the top. You can see I put 3 of those at the bottom. Well, you can't really see, but I did. Just taking my heat gun there to kind of get rid of all the stringies from the hot glue. I'm going to take this cute ribbon that I got at Walmart in a pack the other day. I made me a finger bow with some loops. And that was a hot mess disaster, so I didn't leave that in. If you want to know how to make finger bows, go watch Kathy Jo DIYs. And Trish and Kay are good at making bows too. And Sammy's good at making bows. And Tammy, y'all go watch them. Don't watch me make a bow. I'll mess you up. Anyway, so I get the bow. I just hot glue that on. And then I have these rusty bells from the Hobby Lobby for 50% off. And I just glue that bell in the middle. He's done. Okay, now here's what we're going to use to cover up the other end of that board. Not going to do much. This was $3. Guys, this thing is heavy. I got this at a Mission, not like a Goodwill, a Mission thrift shop, and all their money goes to charity like women's shelters. That thing was heavy. You could knock somebody out with that. But see, he got snowed on. And then I put the sled down at the bottom, and those little skate ornaments I got at Walmart the other day. Oh, I just thought it looked so pretty. Okay, now the wreath. Okay, so at first the lights were not working. So I played with it. I unfluffed it. It had got so smashed with everything on it and mushed wherever it had been stored that the wires were cut off. They were so squished and wrapped. So the more I fluffed it, the brighter the lights got. So I cannot tell you how excited I was when I got this wreath working and the lights worked. Oh my Lanta, I was so excited. All right, I'm taking 4 sprigs here, and I'm going to put that Merry Christmas Y'all sign right in the middle of it. And I'm flipping it over, and I'm not even going to tell you what happened with the hot mess. I was just trying to hot glue that to those 4 sprigs that I pulled out in the middle. Yeah, pine needles that are plastic melt. Yeah, don't do that. Anyway, like I said, learning as I go, people. Learning as I go. Learn from me. Hot glue and pine needles don't work. On plastic floral anyway. It also melts when you put the heat gun on it, by the way. I'm taking me some jute twine here, and there's some posts. This was like actually 2 layers of the wreath. There was 2 big chunky wires. And that big green pack, that is the battery pack. It takes 2D batteries, but you can put it on a timer, and it can also flash and sparkle, or you can just leave them on. I loved it. Anyway, so I took some jute twine, tied it in a knot around the wire, tied it in a knot at the end, put some hot glue. I'm smushing it up against the end there with my makeup spatula silicone thingy there. And then I'm going to put some more hot glue on top of that. Now, you see I have that white and black duct tape because I'm going to stick that white and black duct tape on top of that. And I'm telling you, once this sets up, it does not go anywhere. Nowhere. Let me tell you. I did not want to drill holes in my sign or anything like that. I wanted to be able to take this apart and do something else with it if I wanted to. So I'm going to do that to all 4 strings. I just made sure there was one on both sides and the top and bottom. See there? And then I put some more glue on the ends that stuck out. Now, I just set that aside to set up. Welcome Moose again. Here's just some ribbons. Some were from Walmart. Some were from Michael's. I'm going to use these ribbons here, and I just folded them, and I made each one bigger than the other. Each one has 3 loops, and I just kind of rolled them up and over each other. Nothing fancy. And this doesn't make the greatest bow because I made it so chunky, but, it's okay. And I didn't want any tails on this, so there's no tails. So I'm going to take each one, and I'm going to scrunch it up in the middle, and then I'm going to take those little clips from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to clip each one. So I'm going to do that to all of them. I have me a zip tie here. Now all I'm going to do is take them and stack them because I knew I could not scrunch and hold, and stack that up. That was not happening. So I take my zip tie here. Before I make it tight, I make sure everything is lined up. It's in the center, and I pull that sucker hard and make sure that I snip that off. I'm going to just fluff one side out. You guys can fluff, and you fluff the way you want to fluff, and this took me forever because I made it so thick, and there's so many loops, and I tied it all in the middle, and yeah, anyway, so there you go. Then I made this little finger bow that just has 3 loops, and I'm going to put him in the middle. He does have tails, and that's going to get glued in the middle, but not right now. He'll get glued in the middle later on. We're going to leave him just like that. I'm going to take that same ribbon that I used to make the finger bow up there in the corner and tie it around the, not tie strap, zip tie. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so I had these 3 bell ornaments in my stash. I believe I got them from Dollar General about a year or 2 ago. They left the jute twine on them, and I looped it around one of the sprigs of pine, and then I'm twisting it all together, and then just putting a little bit of hot glue, not much. Like I said, I want to be able to take this off and not destroy the wreath if I decide I want to change it. Now, I also had these little gnomes right here. I kind of started going fast right here, guys, because this is just your preference. You don't even have to do this. I was just trying to fill in some space. So I had these 2 itty bitty tiny gnomes that I think came from Walmart one year. And I just glued one of those to the end of a little branch. Once again, very easy. I could pull it off and it not totally destroyed the tree. or this is not a tree. This is a wreath that looks like a tree. So now I'm going to take my ribbon that I had used to tie around the, now I've lost it again. The tie, it's not tie strap, zip tie. Yeah, that's it. And I made it long enough that I could tie it around the wreath wire. And then it is also long enough that I can tie a knot in the end so that I can hang it from this. I'm putting some extra glue on that just to make sure the knot doesn't come undone. And then I'm going to tie the other end of this so that it makes a loop so that I can hang it up. And I'm going to put glue on the end of that. And there we go. There she is. And then, of course, we'll fluff our bow. Fluffity fluff, fluff, fluff. I did this for about 30 minutes, but I do not put you all through that whole entire misery. No, I would not do that to y'all. I promise. Okay, so there she is. There she is. Maybe I did put you through this whole misery. I'm so sorry, guys. I thought I cut some of this out, but I guess I didn't. Okay, so we're fluffing away. Fluff, fluff, fluffity, fluff, fluff, fluff. Oh my gosh, y'all, I am so sorry. I thought I cut this out. Anyway, oh, there we go. Okay, so there's our little finger bow, and we're going to glue that on right in the middle. And I'm going to fluff. Good thing I didn't leave all the fluffing that I did to the wreath in. Now, after doing this, I kind of thought, man, it needs something else. So I got my skinnier ribbon that I got there. And I'm kind of just weaving that in and out. I'm pretty sure I got that at Hobby Lobby. That matched the ribbon that was in the bow. And, of course, the black and red checkered buffalo print. That's my jam. And after I got it kind of weaseled back and forth, and that's just a you preference, I'm tying each end to the end and just a little bit of hot glue. Again, I want to be able to rip this apart if I change my mind and want to do something else with it. I cannot believe I did not buy this for this wreath part because I thought it wasn't going to work and it was busted and it just wasn't going to happen. I bought it for the deer, but I made a deer, and then look at that. Look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that. So this is on the sparkle. This is on the blinky, blinky, blinky. And this also has a timer on it, guys. And then here she is just with the lights on. Here we go, guys. There is our candy canes. Aren't they beautiful? There's my other little gnome. You can see a little bit better there. There is our precious deer with some extra snow on him. See, you couldn't tell that there was white on those berries anyway. Look at that. And then there's that sled. I didn't do anything to it. I just stuck it on the board with the skates. And then I put one of my jute trees that I made in one of our 12 days of Christmas. And there is all my goodies. That is another thrift flip. That is another thrift flip. You can find it in the 12 days of Christmas playlist that I'll have here at the end of the video. You guys check the description box for the playlist link to all these beautiful ladies. Go watch them.